The Saudi Grand Prix is here and has brought hope with it for Mercedes fans. But is there really? The race will take place on the fastest street circuit in the F1 calendar, and the streets of Jeddah always prove to give a memorable experience to fans. After a slow 2 practice sessions, fans are wondering whether Mercedes is sandbagging. Mercedes fans are hopeful after Mercedes announced new upgrades to Jeddah to fix the pace disadvantage as quickly as possible. Does this mean Mercedes has managed to improve its car over the duration of 2 weeks? Let's find out. Mercedes rolls into the season's second race with 2 upgrades to their cars. Firstly, the rear wing's camber has been reduced for Jeddah, which is considered a higher speed circuit than Bahrain. Lower camber results in lower downforce, which is essential for Jeddah. Other teams have also reduced the downforce produced by the rear wing in an effort to shave every last millisecond from their lap times. But before we continue, I want to thank today's sponsor, VPN Services. Let's continue. Secondly, they have also made changes to the floor of the car. The fence loading has been reduced, allowing for better airflow toward the back of the car and improving the diffuser's performance. These changes are little in number, and the effect they will have does not seem to be significant as of now. Toto Wolff also mentioned in an interview that these changes are only the start now and will most likely not improve their standing much. He also talked about how Jeddah may have a different outcome than Bahrain based on the needs of the circuit. This weekend in Saudi Arabia, we will learn more about W14, its characteristics and limitations. It provides a very different test to Bahrain, and it will be interesting to see how the car reacts. We are bringing some small developments to the car. They won't be game changers, but they can start moving us in the right direction. And we'll be pushing as hard as we can to create opportunities, hopefully giving us a better account of ourselves than in Bahrain. Mercedes' most significant problem in Bahrain was tire degradation, which caused their car to have way less grip than the other teams on the track. Their downforce setup put too much pressure on the wheels, and as Bahrain already required a more downforce-heavy car, it all added up to the poor performance the W14 showed. On the other hand, Jeddah is much more forgiving on the tires, with a higher average speed and faster corners. The average speed of Jeddah is 252 kilometers an hour, whereas Bahrain has an average speed of 215 kilometers an hour. The higher average speed should mean Mercedes does not have to deal with tire degradation as much as Bahrain, and maybe that would give them a much-needed boost. What do you think, though? Is tire degradation really that problematic for Mercedes, and will Jeddah show a different picture? Well, before we continue, I want to thank our sponsor for today's video, VPN. I was in need of a reliable VPN to watch Formula One when I came across their services. However, I must say I am really impressed with their VPN services. I am a big F1 fan, so I generally use their service to get access to movies and videos that are freely available in other countries, but not in the United States. A good example of this is F1 not being freely available in the US. To have access to F1, I connect to an Australian IP and stream Formula One on ORF and Service TV. This saves me lots of money while still enjoying F1 content. Even my friends from the UK got hooked onto VPN so they can watch the F1 races on F1 TV Pro instead of needing an expensive membership from Sky Sports. A big question my friends had was whether VPN is easy to use. Well, I can tell you from personal experience that the VPN app for TV, phone, tablet, and computer makes it extremely user-friendly. Even more good news is that VPN has many servers all over the world, meaning that you can watch even more geo-locked programs and services in different territories. Worried about VPN storing your data? No need to, as VPN does not monitor, track, or store what you do online, so you are safe to watch more of the Racing Guru. They currently give 81% discount, so click on my link in the description for more details. Now let's continue. Bahrain also has a much rougher track surface, as the circuit has not been repaved since its inauguration in 2004. Jeddah is a much newer track, and the texture is much smoother as well. This also contributes to the tire degradation we saw in Bahrain, and what might be different in Jeddah. Mercedes has also been better performing in more front-limited circuits like Spa, Silverstone, and, well, Jeddah. In an interview, Wolff spoke about the issues Mercedes faced in Bahrain and how he hopes that Jeddah will be better for them. The last time that I dreamt about miracles was a long time ago, he explained. That track, Bahrain, is very rear-limited. It has a very abrasive asphalt, and that is probably the weakest point in our car. If you look at it from that perspective, maybe it gets better in Saudi. I certainly think when it comes down to front-limited track, we will have much better pace. In the end, his words make it clear that although they will perform better in the Saudi GP, they have yet to be there to challenge the top teams. The practice sessions at the start also prove this statement. Mercedes was very off-pace and were the third fastest team on average. The Red Bulls were on the top of the table, followed closely by Fernando Alonso in his Aston Martin. This is not promising for Mercedes, who had a 0.476-second gap to Red Bull on their ideal lap. Half a second may not seem like much, but it adds up quickly and shows just how untouchable Red Bull is this season. However, practice sessions are not really representative of the whole picture, and teams may purposefully not show their true speed during them to retain secrecy. An in-depth analysis of the practice sessions show that Mercedes was able to increase its top speed by 2 km/h over the course of the sessions. Furthermore, Mercedes also showed to be the best in the quickest corners on the circuit, which goes hand in hand with what Wolff told the media. The car also appears to be producing a large amount of downforce, even after the changes done to the car before the weekend. We would have to wait for the race itself in order to tell how the tires will hold up, as these sessions don't put anywhere near as much stress on them as the entire race. Comment below who you are excited to see race this weekend, and who you think will stand on the podium's top spot. In the end, from the pace we have seen, it is highly unlikely that Mercedes will show any real improvement in position, and the best we can hope is that one driver somehow manages to creep up in the top 3 due to Leclerc's grid penalty. Still, Fernando Alonso remains a force to be reckoned with, and in reality, the top 4 is the best position they can aim at. The day before the first session, Wolff had already commented on this and told fans not to expect significant improvement in Jeddah. He wants to reassure everyone that Mercedes is planning substantial changes throughout the season and is excited for the challenge they face. Our performance in Bahrain wasn't where we wanted to be, he said, but this is the position we find ourselves in, and it is already full steam ahead on the car, understanding it and working to get it in a better place. That's an exciting challenge for all of us. Since Bahrain, we have had open and honest discussions from which we started to plan our fight back. In the short term, leaving no stone unturned in the search for performance. In the longer term, focusing our development to determine how we get to the front. I've already felt the energy and determination in the factory, and know that will continue moving forward. Anything can happen in motor racing, so we'll be working in Jeddah to maximize every part of our performance, chasing every point, every position, and every millisecond, he said. That's one of the huge strengths of our driver lineup with Lewis and George. We are racers and giving everything we've got every time we go on track. Another interview with him after a practice session also saw him reiterate his previous claims. We understand, crystal clear, he spoke. There are no miracles in this sport. I don't think we can beat the teams in front of us. That's the reality. We need to do a better job, Wolff said. We have to set ourselves strong targets internally because we know where the deficit is, but I wouldn't want to talk publicly about it because it will just put more pressure on. He also showed how he understood Hamilton's frustration after Mercedes did not listen to his feedback while designing the car. We know there are emotions at play, with him, with me, with many others in the team. We wear our hearts on our sleeve, Wolff said. We know that emotions can run high, we have tough love, and nobody's not ever going to not take it on the chin in the team. He also went on to note the mistake Mercedes made by sticking with the zero-pod design they revealed last year. The design seems to not be helping the car on track, and the downforce problems may just be a result of this. We were proven wrong, very simply. The stopwatch never lies, and we see on the data where we are missing, and that needs to be corrected. Overall, we're not happy about the amount of downforce, the mechanical balance, Wolff said. We can shave off a lot of performance deficit because we know the direction to go in. Overall, even though Jeddah may not result in Mercedes winning or even being on the podium, it will undoubtedly pave a solid path for the team to follow. Mercedes engineers are some of the best in improving an already released car, and the 2022 season is a simple proof of this. The team turned the car that took the worst of the porpoising problem and did not score a podium for half the season to challenging Red Bull and even winning a race in Brazil. With a new side pod design coming to the car, and the team having announced that there will be tentatively major upgrades to the car by the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in May, all fans can do is wait and see what the car can do. The problem they face is rectifiable, and if all issues are solved, they could challenge Red Bull and return to their former shining glory. How do you think Jeddah and the rest of the season will play out? Will Red Bull stay in their untouchable lead, or will other teams catch up? Before you click on the next video, make sure to click on my PureVPN link in the description.